Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sreetanwi from E83 Penprints publication. From the 49th International Kolkata Book Fair, it's a warm Saturday afternoon, and we all are here celebrating books, poetry, stories, moments, science, authors, poets, and whatnot. So it's a continuous confluence. We see multicultural patterns. It's like the Kolkata Book Fair, as I told you last day. It's a kaleidoscope of several emotions that are tied together in poetry, in words, in lines. Today we have with us two of our esteemed guests who are luminaries in terms of literature, poetry, global perspectives. We have none other than our very own dear poet, Subodh Sarkar with us and David Lee Morgan. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir, to Penprints and to Kolkata Book Fair. So this time, as many of our friends from Canada, Mr. Sunil Sharma, he told me yesterday, Sunil Sharma, people from states of Chennai, Shivakami Giri, they have all told me today, ma'am, this is for you as well. So they have told me when Shubodh sir is here, please make it live so that we can hear him. Over to Subodh Sarkar. I don't think his poetry needs any introduction, but then from kisses, chumban, dynamite, from love, war, rebellion, everything and whatnot, from amour, from anger, you can love this man, you can hate this man, but you cannot ignore this man. So this is poet Subodh Sarkar for you. Over to you, sir. First of all, my pranam to you. Thank you so much that out of this busy schedule, you have given us some time. And thank you so much for gracing this occasion. From Pen Prince, we offer our pranam to you that you are here today. Thank you, sir. Sir, now a few words about Kolkata Book Fair as a celebration of multilingualism, poetry, and love.
Thank you, Sreetanwi and Shupriyo. This is a beautiful moment of poetry. We are in a small place. It's called a place within place. It's Penprints. And very recently, uh, even it's not a month, very recently you have published my sonnets in English translation. And this is translated by I have translated uh, many sonnets in my life in Bengali, but my Bengali sonnets for the first time have been translated into English, and this incredible task has been done by Bappaditya. Bappaditya, come here. And this is the book in Pranay. It should be informal, right? It should be informal, not academic. Pranay Fukan, he's from Assam. He's an Assamese poet, writing in Assamese, but he can speak Bengali. It's beautiful. And, Assam and Bengal, this is how we come together again and again. When I come to Assam, to Guwahati, to Dibrugarh, to his place, or to any festival of poetry or book festival, so we are together. And this togetherness is very important in India. And Pain Prince has been doing that, celebrating this togetherness of Indian writings written in so many languages, David, as I was telling you at the last program. So we have 24 languages on 8th schedule. That means Constitution is saying, okay, 24. But we have so many languages, more than 1,000. And I said that some of the languages are dying. So, this is a moment to celebrate poetry, to celebrate Bengali poetry, Assamese poetry, British poetry, English poetry. And I believe that poetry written in Bengali or English or in Assamese, poetry is poetry finally. Poetry has its own way to communicate. You just think about the oral tradition, how the people used to talk to each other. And I believe still poetry is such a form of literature that, it has a tremendous oral power. AI, artificial intelligence, and Harari was saying that we are going to ruin our civilization. You people, you are ruining, you are sponsoring the corporations to go for AI all over the world. As you were saying, internationalism and globalism. So he said that he is not for globalism. It is reducing the world. And internationalism is something that expands your languages into one another. And that's a great effort. This internationalism is the thing that you should look for. Instead of globalism, it's a kind of commercialization. But I believe many publishers, publication houses like Penprints, they are doing the right thing because they are not, very much bothered by the commerce, but they are thinking about how politely, how generously, how beautifully they can project literature. They can project, poetry. They can celebrate poetry. This is a major part of uh, the publication houses such as Penprints. So, what do you think?
I can't wait to I can't wait to read this book.
Yeah, yeah.
And
They will give you a copy.
yeah,
The translator will give you a copy.
I wasn't cadging for a free book, but yes, great. Oh, I don't need this, do I? Yeah, I'm here. Um,
Okay, okay.
okay, I'll add something else here. Two contrasts. In the last 10, I contrast internationalism with globalism. I want to contrast it also. I want to contrast internationalism with multiculturalism. And on the face of it, in a way, that's a good word too. In a way, it sounds like the same thing. But I want to argue that there's a difference. And that multiculturalism, not the meaning of the word, but the way it's practiced in the countries I live in anyway, is internationalism without struggle. And so what I mean by that is that on the one hand, in truly internationalism, I think you cherish all the cultures of the world, all the languages of the world. That doesn't mean that you blindly embrace everything in any culture. Uh, every culture has its own bits of reactionary as well as progressive things. And a multiculturalism that just says, yeah, everything that everybody does is okay, I think is goes against the human spirit. That what you want is an internationalism that cherishes these blossoms, but also it shows them the respect to struggle with them and try and reach some common humanity where some oppressive practices, especially towards women, is really the most, but not the only example, where um, uh, embracing the different cultures does not mean that you give every cultural practice that's oppressive towards women or children or other nationalities. You don't give them a pass. You struggle with them in a loving way.
Poet Pranay Pupal has a question.
Yes.
Yes, a beautiful moment to be with such celebrated poets of our time. We are really fortunate to have you, sir, amongst us. So, what's your? You said that the globalism and internationalism is probably not same, but internationalism is more favored. So, what's of the local poetry should be global as well as local, and from the local poetry probably we can grow and get global, and that's what we are doing it here. Especially Subodh, I have seen that he has collected so many different local poets and local poems, and he is making it global through this you know stay I mean sons that he is giving to our smaller what do you call it, in a small languages. Like I have seen his Bhasanagar publishing the Korok poetry also from Tripura and all. So the other languages will be getting global from the local by his contribution.
So
Sir,
the point is, that this is, as Pranay has pointed out, which is very important for all of us today, that where does the global uh, cease to be global, or where does the local grow up into a new kind of global expression? So, or do they really meet? The question is, there is a dilemma, there is a contradiction, a paradox, I should say, in the world market of literature. So Rainer Maria Rilke was born in a small place in Europe, quote unquote, in Europe. I'm not saying Germany, in Europe. So he is international to us. But when Jibanananda Das is born in a small place of Bangladesh, it's called now Bangladesh. It was East Pakistan at that time, so it was known as Borishal. So why not Borishal is also an international place? So when Jibanananda Das is writing from Borishal, or is somebody who is writing from Assam, is not international, but you, because of the fact you were born in Europe, and that's why automatically international.
Mhm.
This kind of paradox I hate, and I cannot accept, I never accept it. This is possibly, Bruno, I very politely wanted to know from you.
I think that's a good question, and I think you hear often from, say, like black writers in the United States who are referred to as a very important black writer, or a very important African. Well, aren't they just a very important writer? Or you hear the same with women writers, an important woman writer. Well, no, an important writer, period. And so I think you're adding another dimension to this criticism of globalism, is that it isn't just homogenous pea soup, it's a pea soup where the dominant imperialist cultures define everything. So a writer is a male. If it's a woman writer, she's a woman writer. If it's a Bengali writer, they're just a writer. But no, if in the imperialist cultural world that we live in, uh, if you were of Bengali nationality, maybe, and grew up in the United States, and your parents did, and you were thoroughly American, maybe they would just call you a writer. But if you're from Bangladesh, or from Kolkata, then you're a Bengali writer, because the paradigm for what a writer in general is a Western European, and maybe in the future a Chinese writer. Simone de Beauvoir writes about how woman is defined as a half a man, not a full man. And that's what imperialism does to other cultures, isn't it? It says they're not real cultures in the same way that the mainstream culture is. So that globalism isn't just blandness, it's also this pea soup, but with the dominant uh, 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 imperialist. I'm using some labels here, but they have a reason for existing. The dominant imperialist patriarchal culture defines what is universal, and it it's a false definition.
Yeah, but there is only one difference I would like to point out, David. There's a very interesting thing that has happened in the history of the world literature. So that is, you also referred to China. Last year I was in China. I was in Beijing, and I was invited to speak and read at Peking University. I met a lot of writers there. I mean, Chinese writers, and some of them don't speak at all. I mean, don't speak English at all. And it's a new generation. I mean, the Chinese writers are different. And most of the writers said, we don't care. We don't care about America or Europe. And why? Because we have crores and crores of readers in China. We cannot supply our copies. We cannot satisfy them with our publications, and I mean, in number, publication in number of copies. So I was really surprised. Well, I don't care whether India reads our literature. It's up to them to decide whether
Mhm.
they will read our literature or not. But I told them, but you Chinese writers, you Chinese people and readers, you wanted to popularize Chinese literature in India, and that's why you had in Bengali translation a lot of literatures in Bengali translation sponsored by Chinese government. So in a way, I think that China is a different paradigm. It's a different global situation. So it's not only just economically they are controlling, not only that they are second or third, whatever it is. I mean, what is that? The index, yes, financial index. If you look at it, you find they're so powerful. Economic so powerful. Military was so powerful. War was so powerful. It can be threat to any country, anywhere under the sun. So in a way, even they can be the threat to the sun. I think. So I think that they are totally different, and it's good that it will it will change. It will put the whole world to transition, to think in a new way. So it's the hegemony of Europe and the hegemony of America. So this even in literature, it's a neo-Americanism kind of thing is everywhere. Even in you find even in this book, as a new cultural imperialism is going on everywhere. So it's not only just money, it's not only just capital, but it's even in the field of literature, which doesn't give you much money, even in the field of literature and arts, they are also controlling. So I always say, I negate, I defy, and I believe that Bengali poetry, Assamese poetry, we are not saying that you are I understand. You belong to them. You rather you belong more to us than to Europe or America. You are more into it, more into our civilization now. So in a way, I believe that I think there is going a big change is going to take place. It's because of India, because of China, and also because of its Asia should be Europe in immediate future. Europe should cease to be Europe, and Asia will become Europe very soon.
Yeah, it's nice. But you know,
This is my theory.
at the end of the day, probably the humanism is there.
Yeah, humans.
Human beings are there. So it is the duty of the poets now, I feel, that they should be knitting those countries together and we
Yeah.
should share our culture,
That is
our
what I was
literature,
going to
everything.
ask.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that the world should be one. There should not be any difference, like there should not be any national, some,
This is only
enmity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially, sir, I have a
Good idea.
yes.
Bappa bolo?
I am totally in agreement with what Sir has been saying. In fact, as we know, as we have been talking about post-colonialism, and one of the finest factors that we see in terms of the empire writing back. We
Yes.
talk about resistance. We talk
Right back
about
generation.
the empire writing back. In that connection, if we are talking about war, if we are talking about resistance and gravitas, what amelioration, what kind of anodyne? I have this question to both of you. In this war-torn, ravaged world, what kind of anodyne do you think poetry provides? Both of your poems, in fact, if we talk about Subodh Sarkar's poems, we find a whole lot of contrasts in them. He talks about love. He talks about that transcendental hold and crossing the thresholds of what is the mundane. And again, going back to the bestial, going back to the archetypes, and again transcending that, coming to a more rarefied, a more aerial perspective, a more ephemeral, and again going to something for poetry which is going to live through years and ages and generations. So my question to both of them, and David, since you have been associated with the Writers Guild in Britain, and you also have your PhD from Newcastle University, if I'm not wrong, that is on creative writing. So my question is, in the academic space, since I also belong to an academic space, while we teach in class and then poetry beyond classroom, when we take it to the outside world, then can poetry be the severest goal of this hour when the world really needs people like you, people like Subodh Sarkar, people like you, who are talking about the anodyne, but you are our rebels, you are the inspirations who are working behind this to make the world different somehow. What about poetry? Can really poetry do this? Can poetry be of any value in this hour?
Yeah. Please,
Yeah,
please,
gave it and so.
please, first give it.
No, he has some.
I have one now.
Oh, you have the mic. Okay.
Uh, can it be of any value? Yes. Can it be the savior of the situation? No. Because in a world of the where a world where that's a battleground between the rich and the poor and the oppressor and the oppressed, um, you have this contradiction in the arts that we don't make anything useful in a food, clothing, and shelter type of way, and to a certain extent, we're dependent on well, if you go back to the let me give an example. Beethoven was proud of the fact that he was a businessman. And he made a product and sold it in the market because Mozart and Haydn and all the people of that time before him were vassals, and they had to serve a lord or a duke or a king, and he was independent because he could make a product. But that's only a certain amount of independence. To the extent that we make a living as writers, we're able to produce a product that has some value in the market, and that's a problem again. Um, so you can find. I mean, I think that the essence of great art is there's a rebellion to it, but you can also find great artists who are.
Say that yes, really, I was thinking about it. That moves me. So I thought, really, what can I do? The poem I wrote this morning, is it going to do anything to humanity? The poem I wrote a month before, or the poems I wrote 30 years ago. What did I do? Did I do anything? If I speak volumes about them, it won't work. But the poem itself will work if it is really true to my heart, to truth. So we are now living in a post-truth generations. And as you said, it's a battlefield we are living in. There is no war in Calcutta. But I still believe that there is a war going on at the back of my mind because of the whole world is torn between this and that. The whole world is torn between good and bad. Some people are established. And as you said, it's a battlefield we are living in. There is no war in Calcutta. But I still believe that there is a war going on at the back of my mind because the whole world is torn between this and that. The whole world is torn between good and bad. Some people are establishing the fact that killing journalists and writers in Gaza is a truth, is a power for them. They are saying that it's good that we have killed. So some people are trying to make you believe that if you kill me, it is a good thing for society. If you bomb there, it will be good for humanity. What the hell is happening? Presidents and prime ministers and the people in power all over the world are crazy now. Crazy for a piece of land. Crazy for some money. Crazy for oil. They will be crazy for water very soon. We are going to know there will be possibly a third world war will be centering the power of water. Not the power of petroleum, but the power of water. So what the hell we have to think. In that moment, as a question comes to me like this, that poetry is the only form where you can speak truth. Poetry doesn't lie. A poem written by you doesn't lie. It never lied, David. You allowed your poems to speak the truth even at the risk of your own life. I never allowed my poems to speak a lie. So the question is, the whole world has made a battleground for humanity, and they are saying that go to war, go to front, do it, jump for it. Go, grab the power. So poetry is not talking about power, but poetry is doing something which is really, really good. I feel that when I read a good poem, suppose I was reading your poems last night and I felt, it happens to me every time when I read a good poem, I feel that there is dust settled on my soul every day, and the poem arrives to clean it up. So I protect my soul. I protect for my soul for the rest of the life. That is possibly what she was. The question that she put forward was very important for all of us.
I feel that Subodh actually a poet throughout his life, throughout his or her life, he or she actually viciously protects his or her soul. I mean, basically, a poet can do sparsely anything else than actually serve as an alarm bell, as a bell that would actually resonate with the conscience of the reader and enable him or her to take the right step forward. That is the only way that he or she is able to say cleanse the society. Okay, he or she can't actually brandish a sword. He doesn't have the power, political or else, to actually garner 1,000 or 1,000,000 people and force things down their throat. Okay. So the only thing that actually Subodh has rightly defined is the power of truth, through which he or she cleanses the soul of the readers. Okay, that is all that we can expect from a poet.
One thing, just to conclude it, I feel that the poets can ask the people, the door is closed, please open it.
Yes.
Door is closed, please open it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think on that note, why we are here, our readers are extremely excited, and those who will watch the session live, and people who are not in Kolkata missing the book fair. When Subodh Sarkar is here, when David is here, people have already messaged me about listening to their poems. So we would love to hear about Bidrohi and the rebel poems from you, or any one of your favorite poems.
Not the whole
and
of it,
also,
part of it.
yeah, a part of the poem, and also when Subodh is with us, because people have actually flooded us with messages and also sending WhatsApp now. Those who will watch live, they want to listen to your poems today. Banglaতে এবং ইংরেজিতে দুটোতে। Okay. Oh, he has the mic.
Oh yes. You read Bidrohi or
rather than because
any other
Bidrohi you
poem.
can find
Yeah,
online
any
already.
other
you can
poems that
you
you
just read the poem you read just half an hour. That poem was excellent. On disappearing vanishing language.
Well, I could. Let me do another poem.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's
Okay, I've got
do
four,
another poem. Do another.
There's like 4 poems that I want to do that relate to this.
Okay,
and obviously
please.
I can only
Please
do
another
one.
poem.
Sure.
Another poem.
So I'll do. I can do that one if I get a second shot.
Okay.
I'll do a poem about slam poetry. Now, most people know slam poetry is a poetry contest where you have usually 3 minutes. You get up, do a poem. Judges who are from the audience hold up scorecards like it's Olympic diving, 7.8, 8.3, and usually the poem is judged by the quality of the writing and the quality of the performance. And they added a new criteria in slam for some slam poems, the warmth of the audience reaction. And I hated that. I thought it pushed slam in a direction that it already kind of went being too. And so this is the poem I wrote about it. 1/3 writing, 1/3 performance, 1/3 the warmth of the audience reaction. The problem with this is that poetry is 1/3 magic, 1/3 true, and 1/3 fuck you. And that's including the funny, likable, lighthearted stuff. If it's good, it's got a hardcore of "this is me, that's you." What are you going to do about it? If you luck out, your shit might be sweet and funny and lovable because you're sweet and funny and lovable. But what if you're an asshole and you want to write poetry? Then you got to write asshole poetry, or else it's just doggerel.
You respect the audience. You don't please it. So let the judges hold up their cards and show what they think, not what the audience thinks. We already know that, and we all got to take a turn on that stage. It's a difference of and we all got to take a turn on that stage. It's a difference of opinion that makes an education. The great plays of Greek antiquity were all written for a contest, just like us. We could learn so much, but the only way to perform a poem is not to perform it. When you're hurting inside, you don't try to cry, you try not to. If you write poetry because you've got to, there is no performance. It's all writing. There's nothing else. Give love to the poet, they say in New York. But I don't want your love except in my worst, weakest moments. I want to go out into the desert where there's no love or hate, applause or laughter, only the words. And after and the words do what they do. And after you hear them, maybe you don't want to yell and scream. Maybe you don't want to jump up and down. Maybe you just want to get your breath back.
Oh, that's great. তুমি কি ইংরেজি অনুবাদটা করবে? 48. Before I come to this book published by Penprints, I just want to remember. I think I will correctly remember a two-liner poem I recently wrote. The English is like something like it's like nobody has done it. I just remember. The poem is called An Enigma. Just a two-liner. A poem is not a poem until it becomes a poem. Now, from this book, it's a book of sonnets, 50 sonnets chosen from my 200 sonnets, or more than that. I have written more than 200 sonnets. From that sonnet sequence, just one poem, its number is 48. Bappaditya Bappaditya Rai Biswas has translated these sonnets in English. Yeah, in English, which is an incredible task. It's difficult to translate Bengali poems into English because they are culturally apart. And he has braved, I must say, that he has translated sonnets. It's not just free verse Bengali poem, it's sonnets with all rhyme patterns and a lot of things and a lot of puns, a lot of things, a lot of devices, as most of the sonnetiers use in this work. So I read the original Bengali first. The sonnet number 48. একদিন ছিল বাড়ি, ছিল বাতি ঘর, ছিল জল, জলোচ্ছ্বাস নাবিকের গান, কৃত্তিকায় ছিল এক এলাচ বাগান। একদিন সব ছিল, এলো গুপ্তচর। একদিন বাড়ি ছিল, আজ সে বাড়িতে দুপুরে ডাহুক ডাকে, খাকা শূন্য দ্বার। কে আছো, দরজা খোলো, এসেছি আবার। অন্তত আসতে চায় গ্রীষ্মে আর শীতে। এ আশার মানে নেই, বেড়ে চলে রাত। ছিল দিন দিবা স্বপ্ন, ঘুমে ঘুমে হাঁটা। হাঁটার ভেতরে পথ, পথে পথে কাঁটা। কি যে ভালো লেগেছিল একটু রক্তপাত। একদিন বাড়ি ছিল, পুড়ে গেছে বাড়ি। আমরা এখনো কিন্তু ভালোবাসতে পারি।
I'll just render to you its translation in English. Once we had a home and lighthouse, water in spate and sailors' songs. Among Pleiades thrived cardamom groves. All was well. Then the spy sneaked in. There was a house, its precincts now. See water hens roam empty rooms. Answer the door. I'm here once more. Twice at least, in summer and cold. Coming's been no use. Nights seem long. There were days, daydreams and sleepwalks. Walks bred paths, paths replete with thorns. To bleed a little how I loved. A home we had, it lies in ash. We folks, however, can still love. Well done.
আজকে আমরা অত্যন্ত আপ্লুত, আজকে আমাদের ভীষণ ভালো লাগার একটি দিন। We are so happy because after all we can still go on loving